this is the address, it come from anywhere, they will be discarded. And this one you will set that under port 002, we have this MAC address. And this is how it learned dynamically. On the port 16 and port 1, these are the MAC address that learned. Okay, for the dynamic MAC address entry, by default, the aging time will be 300 seconds. It means it's a 5 minute. And this is how we are defining the MAC address, static MAC address entry. So on the global, MAC address static followed by the MAC address, and need to be defined under which interface and what VLAN you are going to be assigned. For the backhold, you just have to set that MAC address backhold followed by the MAC address. It's not required to the interface. And let's say you want to change your dynamic MAC address aging time, you can use a MAC address aging time and change the timers. And for the next one, we look into as a port security. So for every single switch port, you can define the port security to secure the interface. So port security is convert the dynamic MAC into the secure MAC address. So this one, including the secure dynamic and static MAC address, can be defined, as well as the sticky MAC address. And this functionalities is to prevent unauthorized user from using the interface to connect back to the switch. So they have three different types: secure dynamic MAC, secure static, and the sticky MAC. So for this secure dynamic MAC address, it means that they are going to learn your dynamic MAC address to be secure MAC address. So they'll convert your port security on that interface by using dynamic MAC address. So whichever the user first connect, they will use that address as your dynamic MAC address. And for secure static, you have to define manually with the port security enabled. And for the last one is a sticky. Sticky will be similar to the first one, just that you will enable the sticky MAC. So the sticky MAC, it means that even though you reset your device, the MAC address will not remove. It will always there to show that that must be the only MAC address can be done on the interface. So for the configuration of the port security, first we need to enable and specifying the protect action. So that can be defined as a shutdown. Alright, then the port security maximum MAC address number 5. So it means that you're going to learn up to 5 dynamic MAC address can be learned from this interface. When the 6th MAC address be learned, they will be having the action as a shutdown. And also you can set the aging times for how long I'm going to be keep count by 5. Again, that is on the normal dynamic secure MAC address. For the sticky MAC address function, you just have to enable with the sticky. So this sticky means that after you learn, they have no aging. There are no more aging times when using the sticky MAC address. And for the last one under the MAC address tables is a MAC address flapping. The MAC address flapping occur when you have a loop. Okay, so how you work from here, from this diagram, you see that from the 0034, when you learn from switch B you just forward to any interface is active, going to switch A and switch C. Until the switch C receive that, you'll find that this port and this port are having the same MAC address, 0034. So in this case, the MAC address will be flap. You'll be flap between port 01 and port 102. So to avoid the flapping, what we can perform is to increase the MAC address learning priorities. So you can say that whichever they are learned from port number 1, they have a higher priority than port number 2. So it means that which I learned from here, when I receive from one port 102, I will not overwrite. So as well as it prohibits the MAC address and entry overwriting between the interface with the same priorities. When both are the same priority, let's say they will have a priority of 3. When both are 3, switch C will going to keep whichever the first will come in. It depends on the port number 1 or port number 2 first come in to the entry. Let's say they first come in, I will going to keep your MAC address forever. They will not overwrite by another interface until the MAC address age out. And we also can perform the MAC address flapping detection to forward the alarm when the device detected that they have a flapping of MAC address. The switch will alert to the user to say that which port have a MAC address flapping. So MAC address flapping determine whether MAC address flap occur by checking the outbound interface. Entry has changed frequently. So something like this. When it's going on, let's say you miss connection leading to the broadcast storm connect to router D. So information will be just forward back to switch B. Switch B will send back to the port number 2. So from here, you will find that they have a port flapping on switch number A. They come from port 1, they come from port 2 as well. So in this case, switch A, we're going to perform the flapping detection. So to configuring the MAC address ND flapping, so first we can also set the learning priorities. So like right now I changed to 3. Okay, so it depends on how you define. Whichever numbers they define, they will base on the priority to set that which one that I should learn from, whichever the highest numbers. And you also can configure a device prohibit the MAC address flap between the interface when they're having the same priorities. So you can set that undo MAC learning priority 3 and allow flapping. So to configure a device to prohibit the MAC address flap between interface when they have the same priorities, they will select the first one they learned. And this is the detection need to be enabled to generating the alarm. And this is configured through the VLAN based MAC address flapping detection. That one is on the globally, this one is under the VLAN. So that is the common command for us to perform the MAC address ND flapping. Secondly, we look into the Gratuitous ARP. So one of the address resolution protocols. For a Gratuitous ARP is allow a device to send an ARP request message that carry its own address as a destination IP address. This one is to detect the duplicate IP. So whether do you have any duplicate IP address into your environment. So they are going to first to send the broadcast, to send a broadcast packet, to set that need the MAC address corresponding to 10.0.0.1. So let's say someone reply using back the 10.0.0.1 as same as mine. So the ARP you're going to give you the alert to say that you have a duplicate IP address. For the Gratuitous ARP will send to detect whether you have any IP address duplication.